Hi, this is Erin from Blossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to create a set of decorative houses as a donation for Cystic Fibrosis Tasmania. I'm going to be using an eco casting powder and when finished, floral embellishments to customise them in the Cystic Fibrosis 65 Roses theme. So, before I tell you a little bit more about Cystic Fibrosis Tasmania, let's get these little houses underway. So, I am using an acrylic resin casting powder and I am mixing it up according to the instructions, pouring it into these little moulds, and then around about an hour later they are ready for demoulding. Now I did then sit them to the side for about a week because I wanted them to cure really well and reach their maximum possible strength. So here you see them ready to start embellishing, and you will notice that the decorations are roses. So at the beginning of the video I mentioned that these houses were being made as a gift to Cystic Fibrosis Tasmania. It's just to use as one of their prizes or auction items in any upcoming fundraisers they have. And the roses come from what's known as the 65 Roses story. And it's an amazing story that I'll share with you. So the Weiss family, Harry and Mary, had 3 sons, Richard, Arthur and Anthony. And in the 1960s, all 3 Weiss boys were diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at a time when most children with cystic fibrosis weren't living long enough to attend elementary school. Desperate to help her sons, Mary became a volunteer with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation in 1965. She tirelessly called civic clubs and service organisations seeking financial support for cystic fibrosis research. Richard listened closely as his mother made each call, and eventually he came into the room and he said, "Mummy, I know what you're working for." Mary asked, "What am I working for, Ricky?" Too young to pronounce cystic fibrosis, Richard said, "You're working for 65 roses." With tears in her eyes, Mary replied, "Yes, Ricky, I'm working for 65 roses." And so since 1965, the term 65 roses has been used by the cystic fibrosis community to inspire hope and describe their disease. So I'm very pleased to be able to incorporate this idea of masses of roses into this gift. So the first thing I do is I empty them all out onto my workspace and I'm looking for colours and sizes and patterns that will match. If you just notice there, I've discovered quite quickly that not all of the roses in this packet are the same colour, and I do want to have a really pretty consistent look. And my vision is for like rambling roses climbing all over. So you'll see here I've made some choices and I've started sticking them down, and I'm going to trim pieces to fit, and always using the little leftover pieces on other parts as well. And when you do it that way, you can end up with a really cohesive look. So you just peel off the protective sheet and just rub them down, burnish them down, and any overhang can be very easily trimmed off with a sharp craft knife or a pair of scissors. So this is what they are looking like, and I'm really happy with them at this stage. Well, mostly. The only thing I don't like is that you can actually see the shine of the edges of the decals as I'm showing you in this photo here. So while I'm thinking about how to mitigate that shine, I make another set. So this set I have made. I did set it aside for a few days again just to get that strength level up, and this set I've decided to use the paper transfer method using Mod Podge. So I'm going to go ahead and create a design on paper, which I just print out on my desk jet at home, and then I'm going to lay each section down just to check that it looks right. And then I've also made a mirror image of each one because of course you're going to be flipping them over to apply them. So that's why I have the normal and then the flipped images. I have used this method several times already in different videos on this channel, and you're welcome to go and watch those, of course. But mainly the idea is that we are going to adhere the paper to the surface using matte Mod Podge, which is applied in fairly thin but consistent layers to both the paper and the substrate, the material that we're adhering it to. So in this case, these little houses. And I have very carefully made sure that the design covers all of the surface. I have previously done this and had sections that I'd left bare, and it really doesn't look as good. You end up with this sort of mismatch of the surface where the image transfers happened and then just the plain surface with the dried Mod Podge on it. So I'll speed this part up, but as I said, I'm just going to go ahead and adhere each one, burnish it down with my fingers, making sure that I've got a good contact seal, and then when it's dry, we're going to start removing those layers of paper using water. Now, when I'm using any material really, resin or acrylic resin, you know, there's always going to be little bits of leftovers, and I always have moulds to the side. So I do have these additional pieces. So I've got the little squares are actually just from the bottom of ice cube trays, silicone ice cube trays, and the hearts are from just I think a set of 9 heart moulds, and then these were a little pendant mould. And so, you know, over time I've accumulated these little pieces, and I had all of the paper left over from when I'm planning the patterns. So I thought I'll go ahead and use these as well, just on the off chance that I can make some extra pieces that might be pretty as a magnet or something like that. So exactly the same process, just using the Mod Podge matte applied fairly thinly but consistently to both surfaces and then adhering them together. And this time you'll see me just basically press them down because I'm not so worried about placement, and I can just leave them there to dry, and I can put them side by side even. So once all of the pieces are thoroughly dried, it's time to start the paper removing process. So you just want to get a dish of, I usually use just room temperature water, and you are going to dampen your fingertips and then start rubbing. And what will happen is that the layers of paper fibres will start coming away. Now the tip here is to not overwork an area, because if you do, you are going to lose some of that actual image. So you are just going to gently run your fingers over, and you'll find that you get these they're like little balls of paper, and you will find that they just come off quite easily. And the best way to do it is to do a little bit, sit that one to the side, start on the next piece and continue on that way, just so that you're letting them dry a little bit between sessions. And the advantage of that is it can show what still needs to be done. I have sped this section up, but you will see that I just keep going over each piece gently, rubbing it. And on the houses where they have the little holes for the windows, the doors, and the little hearts, I just use a tool, craft blade, or a pair of tweezers to clean around those. After I've finished with everything, I set them all aside and let them thoroughly dry out. So, here are all of the items. Unfortunately, I am not sure how, but I did lose the footage of the doming of these pieces and finishing them off. And what I did, because I had the original ones with the decals, I wanted to disguise those edges. So I used some very fine silver holographic glitter in the resin, and I poured that over, knowing that that is a really good way of hiding the plastic edges. The other houses, which were done with the paper transfer method, I just went straight ahead and did the top. And you saw I also had a little bit of excess resin there, which I just poured into some moulds I had to hand. So here we go. They are looking amazing. They are looking very shiny. So this has sealed them, and I have also gone ahead and used a wax to seal the parts that I haven't put resin on, and they are looking very pretty. I didn't love all of the potential magnet pieces, so I chose the ones I liked the most, and I'll show you those at the end as well. So they are not just getting one little set of houses, they're going to get two little sets of houses, and they're going to get some magnets as well. And I'm very excited to be able to package those up and give them to Cystic Fibrosis Tasmania, just as a little acknowledgement of the work that they do, and in the hope that it will help in a very small way with some future fundraising. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your support. If you'd like to know anything more about cystic fibrosis or the Cystic Fibrosis organisations, I will put some links in the description box, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope you enjoy some quick shots of the final products here. Bye for now.